Welcome everyone to the HASHR8 podcast. I am the Bitcoin Broski. I have a couple of very special guests today, joined by the Dr. Miner crew. I've got Juan, Pinto, and Theo, Toukoumidis. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Nice. Here in Venezuela, you know, not so easy.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into mining in Venezuela. But before we get into all of that, gentlemen, why don't each of you take a few moments and let everyone know how you got into Bitcoin mining?
Maybe I can start, Juan, if you want, and then
you
you can talk more than me. It's pretty weird story, you know. I know about Bitcoin because my uncle came to my house in early 2016 selling a scam called OneCoin. And in that moment, I was very curious to know what digital currencies were. So, you know, I lost my money in that scam. I have to accept it. But thanks to that, I started to research about Bitcoin, and the first question was, how are they created? You know, so I found the mining process in that research. For me, you know, in the moment, um, in that moment, I felt like a very difficult sensation to explain of curiosity. I don't know, but never in my life I felt something like that. I was shocked. I started calling my friends and family, and nobody believed me. Classic. Until the only one who caught their attention on my insistence was Juan. So here is with me working in Dr. Miner right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we were friends. I mean, we were friends since our childhood, and I used to work with energy all my life. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I mean, to me, I wasn't a technology or a geek guy. I never was into computers or this kind of programming and stuff. And when Theo started telling the story about this new cryptocurrency, I didn't believe him. I thought it was a scam. I thought he was trying to play me or something like that. He was trying to get me into a Ponzi scam. That was my first thinking. So he insisted so much, and he asked me for help. So I was an engineer, and I work with energy and stuff like that. And I helped him out buying a machine, because he said his words was like, words were like, "There's a machine that can make you money, that creates money." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course,
Money
yeah,
machine.
yeah,
Money
yeah.
machine.
There's a machine that makes money. Yeah, man, whatever you say." And so, but he insisted and he insisted, and then he went to my house, and then we started searching for the machine and stuff. And the moment I started looking at it and I started reading how it actually worked, I linked it directly with energy and how it really transformed energy into money. That was the real idea behind it. In a way, of course, there's all that decentralization and the
Right.
finance part, but the energy side was what got my attention. So we decided to build our own rig to mine Ethereum at the beginning. We bought the parts via Amazon. It was impossible to get the parts into Venezuela, but we finally did it, and we built it by ourselves, and then we started growing from there.
Yeah, and we came across each other's path, I guess it was about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And you guys have, you have a fairly sizable operation in Venezuela. So from that one Ethereum rig that you bought off of Amazon, where are you guys at now with regards to your mining operation?
Yeah, well, we have already built over 10 megawatts in mining farms. Most of them are Bitcoin mining. All of them are Bitcoin mining, different kind of equipment, but Bitcoin mining at the end. There is not a 10 megawatt facility, which will be easier than building 1 megawatt facility, which is what we have done, because it's not easy to get all that energy together in Venezuela or available in the same location.
Sure.
So, but yeah, we went from one mining rig to then 2 mining rigs or Ethereum rigs to building all that industry, because we're building an industry here. We're trying to, that's our goal. Our goal is to try to make Venezuela part of this fast growing industry, global industry that is being built all around the world. And we think Venezuela can play a big role there. So that's our objective. That's our main goal.
Yes, like three goals. We have like three goals. Is like in our like presentation, you know, for investors or people who wants to know us, is like we want to explore our resources, you know, natural resources
Mm-hmm.
through cryptocurrencies, mining, recover the infrastructure here, the electrical infrastructure, and you know, get better the Venezuela financial opening to the world, you know, because now with the sanctions, we have a lot of problems
Yeah.
to have to get the money from outside and to send the money from our country. So with Bitcoin mining, we can open that borders, you know.
So let's
So
talk,
like three goals.
I've got a follow-up question on that, and a few actually. So when it comes to point number two, right? Um, with the power and the grid and the infrastructure in Venezuela right now, what's the main source of power that you guys are getting? Is it hydro?
Yeah, it's a mix. I mean, Venezuela used to be a hydro country. We had 100% of our energy made out of hydro energy. But as we have huge oil and gas resources, like 10 years ago, the president at that time decided to build oil and gas infrastructure to transform that into energy, gas turbines and stuff like that. And he actually installed the same amount of megawatts that we had in hydro in gas turbines. The problem is that most of those gas turbines didn't get any proper maintenance because of
Mm,
the energy price here. I don't know if you're aware of it. We can, I mean, I can confidently say that it's zero. I mean, people doesn't pay for electricity. It's like, it's free in a way. It's free. I mean, the amount of money that you pay for electricity is insignificant. I mean, it's like, and so that's, to me, that's one of the main reasons why the energy infrastructure in Venezuela is so uh, not maintained and not working properly, is because people don't pay for electricity. I mean, and that's something that have been this way for 20 years or more. So the main source for us is hydro, but we also use oil and gas. We use gas turbines for energy, and there's a lot of potential of gas turbines that need to be repaired, but it's not so much investment to get it recovered. It's just that there's no incentive. Nobody does it because who wants to get a gas turbine recovered if it doesn't make you money? But
right.
now, thanks to mining, it does. You can use that energy and transform it.
Okay. So going back to the effective rate of 0 per kilowatt hour,
Yeah.
realistically zero, or it's just
Yes, it's zero.
I
okay.
mean,
So
no, it has a cost, but it's
But
like it's like, I don't know, less than 1 penny
but
for
but if you
for
want
one
to
farm.
talk about dollars, it's zero.
yeah.
Say
It's
zero.
zero.
So when you guys are setting up a facility, I'm sure there's a lot of bureaucracy
Yeah.
or like governmental hurdles potentially that you may have to jump through. What's the landscape like when it comes to here? Obviously, you're in the United States or in Europe, you get your PPA, and then you are off to the races. How is that process different in Venezuela?
Well, it's not that different. I mean, we also have to have like a confirmation from the energy supplier, like a contract with the energy supplier, who is willing to sell you X amount of energy for X amount of time,
Mhm.
and then you get the access to that energy, and has all that paperwork that you have to go through. It's not that easy to get it done right now. You need to be in a facility that's technically feasible to get that amount of energy that you want to use. But it is possible. It used to be difficult in the past because it wasn't legal. It was actually being prosecuted by the police forces in a way. It was
Mm.
kind of dealing with drugs. Like 3 years ago, mining in Venezuela was similar to dealing with drugs. And
Wow.
everything changed. Everything
Yeah.
changed 2 years ago since they opened up to the Petro, which is like the national cryptocurrency. I mean, I have my comments about it, but that's not the main topic of this discussion.
Wait,
Uh,
hold on. I've got
yeah,
questions about that. So
you can ask. You can
let's
ask.
share
You can ask.
let's share some thoughts. So the petrodollar, um, and I'm going to just speak freely. No offense meant by any
No
of this.
worries.
Seems like a joke, right?
Yeah.
Um, is there real utility for it, or is this just another way to siphon money from people?
Yeah. I think it was they got it wrong. I mean, whoever explained the government how cryptocurrency or Bitcoin worked, and they didn't explain it well. And so they thought they could create something out of thin air, a new currency out of thin air, and they didn't see what was the potential, what was the benefit of using cryptocurrency. And I think right now they've realized already. I know they know that it didn't work. They have to change it. And I think they're willing to, because they already, I'm going to say a bad word here, but they're balls deep into the technology. And they're, I mean, they have, I mean, like, I don't know how to say that in English, but it's like a ministry of cryptocurrency. And there's like, I mean, it's a huge building in Caracas with 4 different bodies, blockchain, mining, and exchanges and stuff. So they're taking it seriously, and they do have to change their perspective if they know something doesn't work, if they are putting so much effort and energy in something that it's really helping the country. They thought Petro was going to be a solution, and I think it hasn't been. In a way, the only way I think Petro could work, and I read an article about it, it was a government made article criticizing Petro, is that if they do what they're doing in China, which I don't like either, but at least it has some kind of utility, which is replacing the Bolivar or our currency for the Petro.
Right.
That's the only way that it can have some kind of utility.
And they know now that it was not necessary to create a new one cryptocurrency. You know, like they know right now that with Bitcoin, that was, you know, right. And um, it's about proud, you know, socialism proud. You know what I mean? when you create something, you say, I create the first cryptocurrency in the world. It's just that. It's not about working or how the petrol works. It's about create something. But they know that Bitcoin is the only one, the king.
Well, now you mentioned that they have one of those 4 bodies in the ministry is dedicated to mining. Is the government itself mining?
Not they're not openly saying they are mining, but they're saying that they are in favor of mining, in favor of building the industry. Like they are providing the regulations, which haven't come out yet, but they're supposed to be providing regulations for industrial mining, domestic mining, and even for importation of machines, to build the farms, to provide hosting services. And I think that's, in a way, it's a big step, at least for us, because we want the government, or we want the state to clear the way, or to open up to international investors, because for us, there really is opportunity here. Besides everything and all the economic problems we have here, we have huge resources. We even connected once with Steve Barbour. You know, he's transforming the flaring gas in Canada into energy, and then into Bitcoin. So we discussed with him, because we have so many gas turbines that we can repair, and we could have access to it. So we thought he could be part of the team to help us design all that infrastructure, you know, to make that possible. But for now, this is still on hold, because we need the government. It's kind of a process. They need to digest it and go step by step. They're making mistakes. They're trying to fix it, and
yeah, they're learning as they go. I'm sure.
At the end, we're here in the middle, you know, trying to swim, to surf the waves, and to survive the environment. And I think it will pay off. I'm sure it will pay off, because we have the numbers that back us up. I mean, we have done it, and we can see it's possible. We can see it makes money. We can see it's a feasible solution. It's just a matter of time.
Well, and the risk appetite has to be there as well, right? I mean, in your guys' position, you know how things work. But like for me, let's say, if I was going to look at building a Bitcoin mining facility, I'd be nervous, right, about placing hardware in Venezuela, because, I mean, what do I know, right? Except for what I hear. And what you hear often is that, you're going to set a facility up, and one day the government or the army is just going to come in and take everything that was once yours, and now they're mining Bitcoin with your hardware.
Yeah.
So is there validity to those concerns? Is that something that could really happen?
I will be more concerned about like independent criminals, not the government confiscating the infrastructure, because it's a risk that
Will happen.
will happen to any other business in Venezuela, because this, as I'm telling you, this is already a legal business.
Yeah.
So if you want to build a factory, a car factory in Venezuela, it has the same risk as a mining factory. So it's not linked to mining, but to Venezuela as a country. And
Situation.
I mean, it does happen. It does happen, but the government the last 2 years has opened up already. It has loosened up most of the restrictions that they had. There's no exchange control anymore, so the dollar can flow freely across the country. That's a huge difference from the past. Right now, it's like the Venezuelan economy was kind of recovering before COVID kicked off, before COVID started, like in March, because they free the dollar in a way. There was free circulation of the dollar, and that also it's let's see, open it up the appetite for investors to build stuff. Not only mining farms, there was restaurants, and I don't know. The economy was like
Sure.
starting to
Coming
recover again.
Yeah, I've had Mauricio de Bartolomeo from Leiden on the show before, and we've talked a little bit about some of the products that they offer in Venezuela, and hearing stories of crazy inflation and how it impacts a society and a culture, and I mean really a generation of people. I mean, as an American, right, living in Europe now, it makes me nervous. Like as you're watching things transpire in the U.S. with the quantitative easing and the constant printing of money, are there similarities being drawn? Are you seeing the potential downward spiral that could lead a place like America to being a place like Venezuela or in the current economic state?
Yeah, well, I think, well, I kind of follow first. I don't know if you've heard the milkshake theory from Santiago Capital.
No. Not familiar.
He speaks like everybody's expecting the dollar to fall with the quantitative easing. I mean, with all the crazy money printing that's happening. But his theory is that first all the other currencies will fall because of the dollar, because they will cut supply, and so everybody will want dollars in a way, because all the loans and all the credits are in dollars. And then that's when the whole world will collapse, when the dollar will lose value in a way. And then that's I think that theory makes some kind of sense. I can share with you the fundamentals of it, but I do think that if that ever happens, I mean, I think the last Latin America crisis, which was the last time that the dollar rise, and then there was it was in the 90s, 2000s, was the dot-com bubble. So I think crypto, that's something that I had a discussion with my friend last night, actually. We were talking about what will happen if the dollar rises. I mean, the milkshake theory happens, and then all the other currency collapses. Are people going to run for Bitcoin? Are they going to sell? Are they going to buy? I mean, I think in a way, for our currency, for Venezuela, and if all other currency collapses, I think Bitcoin will be a good store of value. It will be a good place to run to. And I don't know for Americans, because I know American and United States is the market that runs Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin depends a lot of the American market. I don't know what you think. I don't know if you think Europe has any role there.
No. I mean, I think that right now the global economy is driven by the U.S. and all things that trade are driven by the U.S. in my opinion, right? And that, I mean, literally all things that trade. So,
yeah, I mean, is there a question, a situation, or like a trend if Bitcoin fix Venezuela or no? And I think yes. I think yes, for sure. Through mining, through adoption, usability, store of value, accountability, transparency. I think a lot of things, Bitcoin has to us. So for me, yes, Bitcoin fits Venezuela.
So, growing up in South Florida, right? I was there when the migration from Venezuela started, right? So like my high school was, 1 year mostly, Puerto Rican and Cuban. And then the next year there was like a huge influx of Venezuelans that, their families had left and moved to Florida. And then, living in that neighborhood, and as I got familiar with crypto, I started to realize like a lot of my friends were mining Bitcoin or mining Litecoin. And like I would always ask them, like, there's no way you're profitable, right? You're paying 16 cents per kilowatt hour, but you're still mining, right? And everything that they were mining, they were just sending home. They were sending to family back in Venezuela, and they weren't really even worried about what it cost to produce the coin. They just wanted to get something that they could send. So how is Bitcoin being viewed at large by the people of Venezuela, not just miners, but like how is it being used down there?
As Theo said, there's a huge debate right now as of if Bitcoin can be a solution or not. But the reality is what I see before I left. Not everybody will accept it. Let's say the boomers wouldn't accept it, of course. People of my generation, if they wanted to work, if they needed money, and I offer him a job and I offer him to pay in Bitcoin and explaining to him how it works, he will be, like, let's say, happy to do it. They will be really open to do it. I do think it's possible for Bitcoin to work there. The problem with energy and internet in Venezuela, there's a lot of electricity problems. There's blackouts every day in some of the places, which make Bitcoin difficult to use, but makes any payment method difficult to use if there's no electricity and no internet.
Sure.
But I know, I mean, from my experience of people that have survived thanks to Bitcoin. I mean, when we started at the beginning of the story, when we built our first mining rig, the next step was to sell mining rigs to people who were placing the mining rigs like beside their beds. And those were people who didn't have enough money to, I'm not gonna say to eat, but they were really short of money, and Bitcoin kind of saved that year, which was one of the most difficult years in 2017, 2016. And so, yeah, all these people learned how it worked, and from that day on started using local Bitcoins every day. So like local Bitcoins in Venezuela is one of the biggest markets. So I will say that, yeah, for Venezuela, it's like
Yes,
it's already happening.
we felt like we saved life when we built the first mining rigs. You know, we call our friends to my home. My mom was crazy with the mess in the you know, in the main room with a lot of GPUs,
Yep.
a lot of things, you know. But our friends went to my home in that moment and helped us to build the rigs with the riser cars, you know, working a lot. We said, if you help the Dr. Miner company in that moment, we will give you the rig at a cost. You know, like for us in Amazon, like $1,800 the cost of the rig, and we
Wow.
sell them, you know, at the same price because of, you know, they help us a lot. That was a funny story about the Dr. Miner beginnings.
So, I mean, you mentioned the blackouts for a facility, for your guys' facilities there. I mean, what's the uptime? Are you guys talking about like 80% uptime,
Yes.
70%, 90%? What's the uptime like?
With the blackouts, if we include the blackouts for some facilities, there's facilities where we have above 95% because we're connected directly to a gas turbine.
Nice.
But there's other facilities that are connected to the main grid, which is subject to blackouts. And that one is like 80%, 82%, but still very profitable. I can guarantee, because the electricity price is cheap as
Zero.
fuck. So like there's people who ask me like, why don't you get a generator or I don't know, a power generator? And I say, I don't need it. I mean, it makes enough money for me to pay out the infrastructure, the machines, and then make me profit. Of course, I will prefer to have 95% uptime, but of course, when that time comes, electricity is going to be more expensive. So I'm okay with it. I mean, once they fix the energy grid, they can ask me to pay for electricity, and it's okay. I mean, it's going to be like the same financial numbers. I mean, we're okay with having 3 to 4 hours a day without energy in Venezuela. Like, we use that time to do maintenance to the machines, you know, repair of the farms.
It's like scheduled downtime. And I mean, I
Yeah,
guess all things considered, like you have, it's give and take, right? Like
yeah,
there's more than one way to skin a cat. Every business has to be profitable in its own way. And I mean, like you said, if electricity is cheap as fuck, then what does it matter? You know, what
yeah,
does it matter to
yeah.
have those 2 or 3 or 4 hours down a day?
Yeah.
I want to shift a little bit from Dr. Miner to Hash Market. All right.
Right.
Uh, I want to learn more about Hash Market. By the way, I love the name. I know when you guys told me the name, I sent you like one of HASH8's very first decks. We had a page, and by the way, two completely separate products, like apples and oranges. But
Yeah.
we'd had a product that we were going to launch called Hash Market, which I just thought it was so funny because we were so excited about that name when we had found when were determined to build that product. And then when you guys launched it and what you guys were building, I got so pumped because it's such an appropriate use for the name.
Yeah.
But for anyone that doesn't know, please give just like a high level overview of what Hash Market is and what you guys are looking to accomplish.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you how Hash Market was born so that you can understand better how Hash Market works and what is meant to fix, what problems are looking to solve with Hash Market. We were miners, we were mining in Venezuela, and all we cared about was building farms, installing machines and stuff until at the end of 2017, it got really tough to mine there because of the police prosecution and stuff. We were forced to leave the country and we were forced to stop mining, which was the only thing we knew how to do. And so we left
Okay,
to
hold
Europe.
on, hold on, hold on. When you say you were forced to leave the country, that sounds like some movie shit, right? So, walk me through that. So, like, you get word that what you're doing
Yeah.
is being viewed as the same as being like a narco trafficker, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
what happens?
Well, we heard stories about close friends, really close friends that we knew that got the equipment confiscated or the coins stolen, like, but face to face through the police. The police will show the miners a wallet. They will go to your facility and tell you, give me your miners or give me your coins, and they will give you a Bitcoin wallet, like something I will never understand. A policeman with a Bitcoin wallet asking the guy to give it to them unless they give. It was this way. I mean, 100% honest. And for a moment, I was like, I mean, I don't know if it's worth the risk to stay here with this. I mean, it was very close to me. It was in the same city where I was mining. It was a matter of time for us to be confiscated too, or to be a victim as well. So we went to China, remember, together
Mm-hmm.
to visit some manufacturers there. But there we decided, like, no, man, let's try to see fresh new air, other countries, and see if we can continue or work somewhere else. And that's why we decided. Theo went to Barcelona, I went to Madrid, and we realized there that it was not worth it to mine. We needed to mine only in Venezuela. So we took all that year that we stayed in Europe to think like, okay, let's do something different than just building farms and mine. And let's think about what can we do for the industry. How can we improve our operations once we come back to Venezuela, because we knew there's going to be a time that we were going to be able to come back. And then Theo was doing a master in blockchain. That's when I started to learn about blockchain, because for me it was just mining.
Mining Bitcoin, yeah.
Just energy, transforming energy into money. For me, it was that model, like the Henry Ford model that he proposed, like
Right.
an energy currency. And then Theo went to Barcelona and started studying blockchain. He met programmers and blockchain programmers and stuff like that. And he told me, man, let's do something with mining and blockchain. I don't know. And I was like, what I want is to build solutions for miners and to allow people, anybody in the world, to mine without cloud mining, which for me is kind of a scam. Any cloud mining operation or cloud mining company that my friends ever invested into lost their money. They never recovered their money. They didn't make any coin. And it was
Right.
like, of course, I mean, it's almost impossible to do that. So it was like there was two worlds. There was the miners, who was us, and it was my friends who wanted to mine with me. So I tried to make a product that will satisfy both sides and connect them, like in a smarter way, using blockchain, using the decentralized apps. And
Yes.
the main problems that the platform solves for the miners are what the HASH8 futures are attempting to do, which is like when the Bitcoin price changes, your mining profits also change. So
Yeah.
you are not, I mean, it's difficult to make
I
financial
think
projections.
hash market is it's very difficult project. It's ambitious project because it's not for a country or for just for one industry. It's for a global industry right now. We want to connect the world of crypto mining. So it is like another project of collaborative wave, in the trend of collaborative systems, like Uber, like Airbnb, like all those applications that connects people, directly,
Mm-hmm.
and we make the platform. You tell each other, and we can earn the fees that we are going to 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 make there.
Charge.
But
So
hash
just to,
market,
okay, go ahead. I've got a question on the market
we
itself,
are,
but
we are
go ahead.
to 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 get the point. Like, we are creating a platform to transfer energy globally through hash rate.
Gotcha.
Because for us, it's like this: if one investor wants Bitcoin or Ethereum, or a crypto,
Mm-hmm.
just look in a platform that you can buy directly to the source. So you connect the source with the people or crypto enthusiasts. It's like that.
So just to make sure that I'm understanding, if I have, let's say I've got a facility that's mining Bitcoin in Chicago and you're in Caracas and you want to buy the actual hash rate from my machines in Chicago, I can list that on Hash Market, and then the buyer in Caracas can find me, purchase that directly from me. And then it's basically a peer-to-peer contract system. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. So it doesn't depend on the platform, and if we get confiscated also, I mean, the contract's on the Ethereum platform, so it's independent, it's decentralized. The other thing is that, as you say, somebody from Caracas can buy the hash rate from a miner in Chicago. But we also look at from the investor perspective. We look at them like also like just Bitcoin investors is also an alternative to Coinbase or any other exchange where you can buy cryptocurrency. It's like you can buy Bitcoin now in hash market. In the future, like this, let's say let's say the cost of Bitcoin today is $10,000. I can go to Coinbase and buy a Bitcoin with $10,000. And in hash market, you will be able to buy Bitcoin at discount, let's say at 9,000, because the miner will give you discount for buying the hash rate in advance, and you get that Bitcoin in progressively, like in a period of 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, depending on the contract. Our contracts are in terms of weeks, also because of the difficulty adjust,
Adjustments. Yeah.
which is also like one of the main variables that plays a big role on the contract between miners and investors. I mean, miners could think that difficulty will continue to go up while investors will bet against it. That's similar of the hash rate futures that are showing up, which is actually you're betting against difficulty
Mm-hmm.
And,
in a way.
the most important thing is risk mitigation with a stable coin like DAI. So we are going to integrate DAI as the first decentralized stable coin, to mitigate your risk and to sell your hash rate like like futures. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
sell your hash rate in 1 month, and you get the DAI, progressively, in that way. So people will get Bitcoin cheaper than other platforms, but buying hash rate instead.
Now, so are these more forwards or futures? Right? Like if it's okay, so if it's a forward, right, I'm less speculating on price and I'm actually purchasing basically the physical hash rate. Like if it's a forward, I'm buying hash rate from Juan. I can do with that whatever I want. So between now and the time that contract settles, I can trade it, I can sell it, I can do whatever I want based on market conditions. Like if I buy it today and the spot price in a week and a half is higher, I can sell it, and the person who buys it then is going to speculate that it's going to be even higher at the close, or maybe
Correct.
they just want to settle. So is there going to be that exchange system on there as well?
Yeah, there's going to be that exchange system. You can sell the contract that you already have, like a subcontract. And
Okay.
depending on what you think about the market, if the market changes, if there's buyers, of course, if there's sellers, and you can also change the discount, because we have like a feature called discount for the miners. Because of course, if today I see Bitcoin pumping to 17K, I would love to have my S9s mining at this price or at this profit. I would love to have my hash rate for 6 months or for 3 months or 2 weeks or whatever I can find. So of course demand will let's say decrease at that price, then it will be at this price. So that's the game we want to play. We want to try to create like a game platform for investors and miners to play. But the main idea is I think for investors, there's only one option to get into Bitcoin or to invest Bitcoin, which is just buying it and in exchanges. But there's 3 ways to get Bitcoin. One is buying it or selling, the other one is mining it, and the other one is selling your products and services for Bitcoin.
For it, yeah.
I think all the platforms and all the developments and products out there are just focused on exchanges, and we want to try to bring some of that demand into our industry.
So now, do you foresee any regulatory challenges when it comes to this contract? Like, do you think you'll be able to operate it in the US, or will it be only open to accredited investors? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, regarding the US, we're still investigating about it. We've heard there's some regulation that we have to comply. We're also thinking about the KYC part, which is something some people wouldn't like, but I think at the beginning it's going to be necessary for the miners at least. But there we will have, after the KYC, we'll also have a reputation system where miners will get a higher rank depending on the performance they have had in the previous contracts. That's with rewards also for miners, special rewards for miners and investors, in order not to cut the contract in the middle of it, because it benefits one or the other. But yeah, we're working on that for the United States. For Europe, I think it's possible already. But
we want to work like BitMEX.
I gotcha. Yeah, and that's obviously hash rate futures and derivatives markets are big. As the industry continues to grow, we've talked about them a lot on this show. Yeah. I'm a total fucking fanboy when it comes to this market, because it legitimizes Bitcoin mining, right? It gives people the ability through different financial tools to hedge risk, right? And the only way that miners can sustain long-term is if they're able to protect against the downside, which in my opinion is part of the reason why we didn't see massive capitulation when we ranged for 3 months around, $9,000, $10,000 this summer, is because there were those financial tools that could allow miners to stave off capitulation a little bit longer and make it to the sunny days everyone's experiencing now. Exactly. So it's exciting to see more products springing up.
And also I think these products, besides that, it also open up the gates for energy suppliers, which Steve also said that in the future he sees mining as most miners are going to be the same energy generators or generation of energy companies.
Yep.
And I think this opens up the gates for them, because they will see more stability, more financial stability on the project long term. They can think of years, and because if you offer a financial projection for a mining farm, most of the time it's okay, I can say in 6 months we're going to make this amount, but it depends on Bitcoin price. It's to me, it's very difficult to make projections in mining if you don't have these financial tools that we are having now. I don't know if you have already tried any of them, or anybody who have tried the hash rate futures. I don't remember the name of the
BitUda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know some people that have, and they're very happy with them. They've also done the transaction fee swaps, which have been very helpful. And those are bespoke products, right? So those are one-off. And I think that the natural evolution of everything is to work towards an automated process, right? Yeah. So
I got an important email, a few days ago from Via BTC. They are offering hedging services. So nice. It is similar to Hash Market, but in a centralized way, in a mining pool. So it is kind of Hash Market system, but I think peer-to-peer platform maybe works well than a mining pool.
So here's the thing, right? This can be done right and it can be fantastic, or it can be done wrong and it's literally just repackaged cloud mining, right? And that's like like cloud mining is a hash rate contract. It's just not really a hash rate contract, right? So it's very, I think there's just some obscurity still, and I'm glad you guys are doing it the right way and like working to clear up the notion of what yours is versus what cloud mining contracts are. But I tend to think that anything coming out of certain regions of the world, let's say, still tend to lean in favor of what they've been doing, which is cloud mining, and just,
rip off the investors.
I would say putting sugar on shit and calling it a donut, right?
Yeah.
Like, so and
false promises. Yeah.
God bless. Like if it works for them and somebody's buying it, I totally get it. I don't think that will work as the market continues to get wise. However, like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm excited for Hash Market and what you guys are building. I think it's a novel concept, but it's peer-to-peer, which is like the ethos of Bitcoin and crypto, right? So it's like the best of all worlds.
Yeah, well, you can be sure that we will do everything to separate ourselves as much as possible from cloud mining. Not as much as possible. We're going to be like, that will be our main differentiation attribute. And our idea is to have miners committed to their investors. Our idea with Hash Market is that investors can actually make money mining remotely in another facility, and miners will have a tool like a hash rate futures tool to protect their profits in the future. It's like it's a basic concept, but of course in the middle there's many things to do. But that's the concept of the marketplace. That's what we're attempting to achieve, to have investors to make money with mining remotely for the first time ever, because nobody has ever made money with cloud mining. So the moment that Hash Market allows investors to make money, that will be a big difference. I mean, the first time that people will say, hey man, I bought some hash rate for 2 weeks and it actually made me money. That will make a huge difference. For
Absolutely.
Sure. And for miners to say that, hey man, I was able to mine for 4 weeks at a fixed rate, similar to what they do in hash rate futures. So we will already be positioning ourselves as an alternative. And I think it will benefit the industry. We created this tool for the benefit of the industry and the benefit of miners at the end. And we will try and we will continue. We will put all our efforts to provide that promise and to
That's awesome.
comply with that promise.
Well, guys, I think that is a fantastic note to wrap up on. I am glad that we were able to chat today. I think that this was awesome. It was great to learn a little bit more about what's going on in Venezuela. I always get fired up to talk about hash rate derivatives and anything involving the financialization of hash rate. So thank you, Theo and Juan, for joining me on the show today.
You're welcome.
Thank you a lot.
Pleasure.
I will probably visit you next time in Latvia.
There we go, man.
Come
anytime. You ping me. We'll have a good time. Before we get off here, though, please let everyone know where they can find you.
Okay. We have on our webpage, www.drminer.com. And on Twitter is @drminer. I don't know how you say that. Underscore. And on Instagram @drminer. I don't know if anybody who hears this uses Instagram, but our main audience is there.
We have a huge.
It's not the main platform for crypto, but I think it's growing up. I think it's maturing a little bit, like Twitter was in the past.
God, I'm gonna have to get an Instagram account now. All right. Well, look, for the viewers
you
of the
get an Instagram account. I don't know why you don't have an Instagram account. Bitcoin Broski, man.
I have it. I have Bitcoin Broski. I've had it forever. I just never use it. Right? Like before crypto, I didn't have a Twitter either. Like I was no Facebook, no Twitter, no social media. And now it's just life comes at you fast. You know what I mean? So now I'm figuring out all of this other stuff. And now there's TikTok too, which is a whole mess in and of itself.
Reels. Oh, now it's Reels.
Well, we got Dutch pumped because of TikTok. So imagine what could happen with Instagram if you jump back.
Oh my God. Well, that's exciting. All right. Well, so I'm going to start an Instagram account and we're going to pump Doge again.
Yeah, man, we can connect there. You will see, you will learn a lot of the Venezuelan mining industry in in Instagram. There's a lot of accounts there, serious accounts like ours. I mean, we're not the only mining company in Venezuela. There's like 4 or 5 more, and they all have huge Instagram accounts. Ours is smaller. It's one of the smallest actually, and we're starting to grow a little bit our audience and our followers and stuff.
I'm gonna be so we got crypto Instagram coming soon.
Yeah, crypto Instagram is coming soon, man. Trust me.
All right. Well, to all of the listeners and the viewers of the Hash8 podcast, thank you guys for tuning into the show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you smash the like button, turn on notifications so that you are always made aware when we go live or release new content. And if you're on the podcast and listening on one of your podcasting platforms, leave us a rating and review and let us know what you think of the show. But for us here at Hash8, until next time, we'll talk to you guys all again very soon. Thanks for watching this episode of Hash8 Podcast, a Hash8 TV production. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for more great content like this every day of the week. In addition, feel free to leave a comment below and let us know who you'd like to see on the next episode of Hash8 Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you head over to hash8.com, you can sign up for our free weekly newsletter, Difficulty Adjustment. Every Wednesday morning, we provide you with the latest news and information on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and mining. Plus, each week, one newsletter subscriber will be selected at random to receive a free Ledger Nano S cryptocurrency wallet. So go ahead and sign up today. Who knows? You may be the next lucky winner. Want more from Hash8? Follow Hash8 TV on Twitter. It's the easiest way to keep track of our newest content all in one place. That's at HASHR8_TV. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Please remember that all content appearing on this or any other Hash8 channel is strictly for informational and entertainment purposes only. You should not construe any such information as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Consult a licensed financial advisor before investing yours or anyone else's money.